Alright, we are live. This is Nate Miller from DigiFX, and I want to thank everybody for joining me. This is my second attempt to do a live stream for the first time in my life, so I'm getting used to this. I had to set up some stuff where I could have some background audio from the computer, but also get my mic set up, hear myself talk, get a camera for you guys to check out what I'm doing in real time, and also showcase Oasis live in front of me here. So I'm very excited to finally have a chance to share with anybody that's interested in this space or just gaming in general what we've pieced together here at DigiFX. In front of you here, you see I have the Palm Beach instance level that I showed a little bit yesterday. And I just wanted to reemphasize kind of the stuff we built into this and why I think it's so special and unique moving forward and where the industry is going with AR. Specifically for me, it's AR in geolocation gaming for mobile, but there's going to be wearables coming out soon that can come down in price, and when they become more affordable, we're obviously going to try to migrate this towards using something headset instead of holding your phone up and doing cool stuff like that. But with that being said, right now it's all about using mobile phones for all the fun stuff. And as you can see, I have my iPhone X here, my iPhone 10, and let me just go ahead and just clear this stuff out before I start showing everybody stuff. But yeah, the application right here does run on my phone, and I'll show you. We're just going to boot it up real quick, and you can see it in action. And there you go. We've got Oasis Live running, which is a pretty cool. It's a lot of work. It took me a long time to figure out how to get all of this you see on the computer on my phone running around, and I'll definitely go ahead and show you some more stuff in the phone right here, but I thought it would make more sense to actually showcase something within the Unity game engine so you can kind of see how it works, how everything comes together, and also, as you can see, I'm also using Movie Recorder to show myself. A little sneaky way to get some picture-in-picture action there. But anyways, let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about the Palm Beach level here. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and I can't emphasize how much the game engine is doing to make all this happen. And we are using a lot of components to bring the game to life. We have a AI system a couple different AI systems specifically for the characters. One that's a passive AI system, and that's really just when you're going to see a lot of these NPCs walking around here. But then we also have a aggressive or hostile NPC system where when you're in an area of interest, they will actually approach you and attack you and take health away, and you have to use your items to regenerate. So on top of that, we have just regular items in the map itself. And again, once I start playing the level in a second, you'll be able to see that. And of course, there's going to be some quests here that we... let me try to put something on that's not distracting for us. Sorry. Part of live streaming is just... I guess it's all going to be distracting in terms of music, but one thing I noticed in the last time, when I wasn't talking, he was just kind of sitting there. It didn't seem. I wanted to keep it lively, so I'm practicing as I go. This live streaming thing, trying to bring energy to the table, trying to show you guys how much I'm excited to share with you what we've worked on. But I'm also getting used to being, an entertainer, promoter on TV, whatever you want to call, in front of the YouTube channel. So. This one's alright. And in the future, if you don't like the music, we will turn it off, so don't worry. But anyways, back to Oasis Live. So as you can see, as I just scroll through we have a lot of items already created, ready to go, ready to collect, ready to do fun things. And the ultimate goal with Oasis is to have some kind of... you need to craft and you need to create things using... items you collect and also the elements that you collect throughout the levels. And the important thing I tried to bring to the table was different unique levels and different unique environments, specifically so that it feels like you're adventuring in far off places. And that really plays into the geolocation aspect when you're walking around in the world and you want to go find something that may be like a winter level versus something like this, which is more of a beach. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and just run this, and I can kind of show you a little bit about the controls, the user, the AI, UI that I've created for this, and specifically kind of how you're going to interact and play in some of these levels. Now while this loads, and I'm definitely going to turn off the music now since it's playing the level. But you can hear we have some audio in the game itself. And so I just have these screens that I've added in for just when we start releasing this, have people test it on the devices, give feedback, and help improve the game. Ultimately, I created this as a gamer, once a gamer, for people that are interested in gaming. And I wanted, the more excited people get about what we're doing and the more they want to help contribute to making a better product, the better it makes me feel about going down this road and getting into AR experiential app gaming stuff like this. So your feedback is appreciated. It's something I look forward to, and I want to actually make this fun and engaging, and I want your help. So please don't be shy. Give me your opinions, give me your critiques. If there's something you don't like, if there's something that doesn't make sense, it's important you share that with us, because without your help and without your knowledge and without your interest, we won't be able to make this a success, and that's a big part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in a little bit, and you can already see we have our little NPC guys. We have our fire frog right here, and I'm just noticing how he keeps on running to the end and he can't run anymore, so it's bugging me, but that's just because he doesn't know. He's just trying to navigate certain on the nav plane, and then he's hitting a wall that we put up so you can't fall off the edge of the earth, so to speak, or the edge of the island. But with over here in the actual game view, if I move over and start moving Sully around, another reason why I like doing it on the computer versus on the phone is you can see both from the phone's perspective and then from the developer's kind of the I would say God mode of when you have an overall view of everything, and you can get really a feel for the size and the scope of these levels, but at the same time know what it's like minus not having it keyed out in AR, in real time. But this is definitely a good start in the right direction to sharing this product with anybody interested. So the very first thing I want to do is just kind of show the areas of interest we set up and the quest system here. So a lot of items, as you approach them, you'll notice that stuff changes in the environment, and pretty much the most obvious one is when you approach this tiki statue here. The flames turn on, we get little drum action, and this is another reason why I wanted to redo the live stream, because before I wasn't getting the system audio, just the mic, because I didn't have it set up in terms of the streaming system. So I'm glad you can actually hear this now. It brings it to life more, and you can definitely get a sense for what we're trying to accomplish here. I'll just make sure it's not overbearing and too loud, so I might have to turn that down a little bit. I think we're good. So we now are in an area of interest for the quest right here, and so I'm just going to go ahead and click on this guy, and we pull up a quest scroll. And obviously, if you're on a phone, instead of clicking, you would be able to just tap on it, and it would do the same exact thing. A click is like a tap on the phone, obviously. So we've activated that quest. It just wants us to go find some stuff. So let's go move around. I'm not going to mess with the NPCs just yet. I'm just going to go around, do a little searching. You notice something funky there. It kind of just turned off and on. It's an on-off switch for that. So I need to somehow gradually ease out, the effects you get instead of just having it turn off there. That's something we'll have to script in there. But with that being said, we can still walk around and collect stuff. So I mentioned before, one of the most important things you need to collect are essences and materials to craft. And Oasis is based off of a lot of traps and a lot of NPCs in your way to getting to the goals that are going to get you relics. And just like some of the other games, you have certain things you want to collect. And Oasis is all about relics. The relics are like you want to collect them all. There's hundreds of them, and each one gives your player power ups. It gives you advantages towards anybody else playing the game, and so you want to go after the relics. They really are the bread and butter of the game, and in order to find them, you have to collect map pieces. So over here on this table, you see we have an actual map piece, and I'm not going to pick it up right now because I don't actually have the system in place to where you can craft it, but it does work. And when you find a map piece in each level, you can craft what's called a full map. And actually, if you look down below where all the items are, you'll see next to that starfish, there's a complete map here that I've built in as an item. And this is one of the items that you can generate from the map pieces, so to speak. And so the map pieces reveal boss levels, which I'll show you some boss level instances and levels as we go on in the live stream here. But that's the big gameplay kind of feel that I'm going for. But to get to the map pieces, although it's easy and just laying in a box here, most of the time I'm gonna put them in places, or whoever's involved with building these levels out on our team, we're gonna put them in places that are hard to get to, or there's gonna be some kind of obstacle, some kind of trap, some kind of like spike trap, or saw blades, or some kind of hostile animal like the raptors that you see in the level that are going to be in your way from getting it done. And so that's really the key point about having the crafting system in place. You have to be able to craft items and use those items to fight off and ward off these threats or these obstacles. So I'm walking around a little bit more. I can click some more stuff, and I'm not going to activate all these quests right here. I'm just going to show you that there's a lot of stuff, and see how we just walk through that boat. That's something I'll have to fix a little bit, just so it's not invisible, or it actually has a barrier. But I'm just picking up items, showing you how it works, and this is simply basically what all the instance levels are going to be like. And as you can see, we were back in the quest zone, so turn back on. But another cool thing we have is we have these NPC characters that walk around, and here you see we have a flamingo walking around. And of course I mentioned the fire frog over there and the crabs, and it looks like, I don't know where usually they hang out in front, but it looks like they're all hanging out behind this guy over here. So I'm gonna go try to click on a few and see if I can show you what it does when you click on them. So I clicked on him 3 times, and he did a little collapse. He died, and I'm collecting items from him, and so, or her, whatever kind of crab it is or wants to be known as. So when we loot stuff from the NPCs, they get added to your pack right here, and I'm clicking the wrong one. And your pack, and I actually can't see this that well because I'm using only a regular monitor, and it looks like if I just go here, yeah, it is in low res mode still, so that's probably why it's a little blurry. If I was using a retina display or whatever, it would be twice as sharp. So hopefully on the stream it's better for people if they want to actually see these items. But you can see I've already collected a bunch of items here throughout the level, different rarities, different items. And in the crab, we just picked up some crab goo, some crab claws. The crab also dropped some essence, some water essence. And these are all things that are important for crafting weapons or items or tools that we're going to use. Here we got a little flamingo in front of us. Let's go ahead and click on him 3 times. He takes a little squat. And then for now, he's also dropping crab stuff because I haven't updated him to drop his own things. There's like, he'll have feathers and stuff that's related to a flamingo, not a crab. And that's just how the NPC systems work. So in the future, when we have hostile systems or hostile NPCs, you will have to ward them off and bring down their health bar like you would in any kind of adventure style RPG game in order to loot them. But the fact that it's all very passive, I also want to make it very casual in terms of when you're on a mobile phone playing with your thumb scrolling around. I want to make it very easy to manipulate and get stuff so that people stay engaged and have a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. And so I'm going to continue walking around, and I'll show you the rest of this level. Then I'll talk a little bit about the UI, like I said. So here we have another quest. This is just raptor troubles. So it's just talking about, you got to go after the raptors and take them out. We go over here. There's a lot more stuff over here we can collect. Let's go ahead and collect that. We got some fish drying up on the wall. And if you were to look up with the phone, you would see on the top of the mountain there's actually more stuff too. And if I just go ahead and move this around and show you right here, there's some stuff. So it's all about looking everywhere. Items are not always going to be where you expect them to be. Sometimes they're going to be hidden. Sometimes you're going to have to search a little. They'll be in the long grass. Like for instance, I can tell you right now that in the fire, I've actually placed what we call fire essence. So if I click somewhere near it, it should, unless I already picked it up. I may have already picked it up. In that case, we won't be able to do it. Yeah, it looks like I accidentally already clicked it, or clicked it when I was walking through. But essentially, they'll be morphed in with things that are going to deliver that kind of object, so to speak. So I'll continue just walking around to the back, and you know, the raptors right now, they're just kind of doing their thing, walking around. They don't care about you. They're friendly raptors if there ever was such a thing. But you can see they're just kind of walking around the background over there and using the nav mesh and the nav plane and the tall grass hiding out. So we'll go over this chest right here. I think it's over here, and maybe it's actually behind this bush. I guess I didn't go far enough. Okay, so there we go. So there we have another area of effect, and I'll just go ahead and zoom into Sully, our character here, so you can see that. And that's also another little, he shouldn't be walking through that, so it tells me that I haven't made this a static object for him to think it's a wall. He just assumes that he can walk through the chest, which is a mistake, but we'll fix that down the road. But what you can do is you can click on the chest and you can collect some rare items, and those are being randomly generated. And you know what, let's go ahead and just try to take this guy out because he is clearly stuck behind the chest, and I can't really see him, can I? Let's wait for him to come out. There's another one soon. There's the other guy. Let's get this guy right here. So we'll go ahead and go up to him. We'll click on him 3 times. He falls over, and we can pick up what he has to offer us. So that's basically the fundamental gameplay in a environmental level like this where you're collecting stuff. There are other levels in Oasis which I haven't really shared yet, where you get attacked by like sharks or by things on the map view, and they open up different kind of instance levels, and those instance levels are called, like, I don't know what I'm calling them yet, but essentially you have weapons that you create and you have to fight off the sharks or whatever coming after you. And I will share those at a later date once we have those built into the overall demo and the released apps that we're going to share with everybody. But you know, all in all, like, this is the very first level that I pieced together a couple of years ago. I started making this about 5 years ago, on or off, and really towards the last 6 months I really doubled down, and I really wanted to get this up and running and share with people because I was excited about what the potential, what it can do, and where we are with devices in the world. So now that you've seen kind of the basic layout of the Palm Beach, we'll just zoom out a little bit just so we can talk about the interface and just let it do its thing. So in front of me here, we have the UI that I've created. And obviously the thing that you noticed probably firsthand was we have this thumb control joystick system that Sully, our little boy player here, character, reacts to. And what's a cool thing about that I've done here that I think is really unique and interesting is that the character controller and the AR camera controller are on separate axes. So when you're walking around playing with your phone and you open up an instance level, you can actually look around and see, and then the camera moves around, which you can't hear in the simulator. And so when you're looking up top for stuff, looking up so high, you have to look up and you can click on it. And so that's the camera axis. But then the player itself, he can walk around and move around and explore using the joystick. And the reason why I decided to go with the joystick versus actually having you physically walk around an AR world is there's a couple of reasons. The big reason is we're not quite sure how these are going to propagate. We use an AI or an API system through Google Maps to propagate stuff at places of interest, and so we're going to try to set up, you obviously want to manually try to set up things in places that make sense. And I guess what I'm getting at is when you're compositing on a background for the beach, you kind of want to have a real life beach background or something in the background that replicates that and kind of morphs the AR and the real world together. I mean, that's the whole point of mixed reality, is to submerge it all together. However, when you're using APIs just use data to propagate, in this instance levels. So we don't necessarily know that every single place you propagate it is going to benefit from that or actually end up like that. So with a joystick, it gives you a little bit more freedom to move around without walking into traffic, into the water, into a car, all the threats that have been talked about with geolocation, which is a serious concern. If you have kids playing this and they're excited and they see something they really want, you got to make sure that you are looking out for their best interest, because we all know it's what happened in the past with the previous games that came out that used geolocation to propagate rare items or things of interest. Secondly, the joystick really just it gives you a sense of control. I guess obviously it's a joystick of the character. One where I didn't really get that when I was using the AI, the anchor system in the AR to actually build out like movement of the character, and it also helps solidify an AR platform when you're using something this big or using this much assets, these 3D assets and mesh in an environment. It's really hard for the phone to keep it in place. You have to generate planes, and I don't know if I'm sure some of you watching this in AR and using ARKit and ARCore and Vuforia know how to anchor certain 3D objects to make it stick. But for those of you who don't know, you basically the camera, you sense out little light photons out of the sensors in the lens, right? That's a sensor, and then it generates planes based off of where it knows there's a hard object, and then those planes can anchor certain things. In this case, we're anchoring a whole environment, and so to do that appropriately, you got to get a good anchor in place, and then you got to make sure it sticks to it really well. And credit to Apple and Google and all the big tech gurus and giants that have made it very, very possible for guys like me to come in, put some creativity, put some technical knowledge into it, and build stuff like this, because they've made it. They put a lot of effort into these systems, so where it is pretty good off the bat, especially on a smartphone, where again the range is limited to how much it can really seek. And with that, let's just talk for a second about wearables, like HoloLens and Magic Leap, which are like the two big ones right now that developers and people are using to create cool things in AR and mixed reality. Those even have issues with what we're talking about. In AR right now, there's a few things happening which are putting the industry not on necessarily halt, but it's slowing it down. And I don't know if anybody heard about there was a rumor going around that Apple glasses, they were going to can it because they were having issues. And I don't know if that's true. I heard rumors and I heard it wasn't true. And I'm not really going to take sides. I'm usually stick to the facts. And until somebody from Apple says we're not doing this and it's an actual fact and not just somebody saying something, I'm just going to assume everything's happening as it was said. But with that, what I'm getting at is with wearables, there are a few things that are happening that are slowing us down. We're having problems with heat dissipation. And if you know about heat dissipation, it's just like when your computer gets hot and the fans turn on to blow air out. You're trying to pull the hot air away from the transistors and the things and the stuff on the motherboard that are generating heat through the current, right? And so you have heat dissipation in smartphones, and you have heat dissipation in glasses and watches, like smartwatches, right? This obviously doesn't generate that much heat, but when you have a projector or a sensor, and essentially AR uses two kind of camera sensors, right? It uses a projector that beams 3D images on the inside of the glasses to the lens, and that's what you see 3D objects, and then it uses camera sensors on the outside to project planes and know where stuff is, where to anchor it to. And that's essentially the fundamentals of how an AR glasses work. But when you're using those sensors to generate these 3D objects, they generate a lot of heat. And on top of that, they drain a lot of current, a lot of power, energy. And that's no different than electric cars or any of our electronics we have in this day and age. Everything requires a lot of energy, especially in the tech world. And thanks to like car companies like Tesla and innovators and people pushing the boundaries of how we can cram these coils into batteries to actually make more energy efficient hardware and cars and devices, we're able to extend this battery life. But still, it's still limited, especially when you're talking about glasses. And I almost want to just take a second. Let me just move out real quick and show you essentially what we're trying to do in the world of AR, right? It's with a HoloLens and I know I'm getting off track from the UI, but I just want to get this point across and then we'll move on. Now, HoloLens and a Magic Leap, they're pretty big. They have big battery packs. They have these huge visors in which you can project stuff. And we're trying to put something, maybe not something this small, but this is my, these are my favorite pair of glasses. These are Oakley main links. I have a few pairs of these. I like them. They just, they fit good on my face. They're square. They're my style, and they're light, and they're nice. They're nice glasses. And so we're trying to actually bring the AR experience to casual wearables, not like extreme technology wearables like I just mentioned. So if you can imagine trying to fit a little sensor in there to project stuff on the inside of the lens and sensors out here to project stuff, it's drawing a lot of current, it's creating a lot of heat, and it's not very efficient. So you have to put these big battery packs in the arms right here. And it just becomes bulky and awkward. And at the end of the day, you don't want something to be seamless. You don't want something that's you're trying to make seamless to feel awkward or uncomfortable, especially if it's something you wear in your face. Your head's like this. You want it just to fit and move around and just be normal. And so that's the biggest challenge, is that we're having issues with heat dissipation. The sensors just get way too hot. We can't cool them off efficiently. The battery consumption or the energy is being drained fast enough to where if you're playing a game like Oasis, I don't think I don't know, because we haven't really seen anything yet. At least I haven't in the public. But the amount of energy or time you're going to be able to use it is relatively minimal. And for a game like this, I would hope that you'd be playing it like a few hours a day in the afternoon, walking around enjoying the day. So the last thing is the field of view, right? Field of view is something that's nothing new. We all know about it, and that just means that when you put the glasses on, there's only so much lens that you can project a 3D objects on, and so you get like a square box effect to where you can see stuff and over here there's nothing. And so we're trying to fix that, and I don't know what the solution for that really is going to be, except for if you just have a big half dome around your face and then you have sensors pushing out. I mean, that's really probably is going to happen, but at the end of the day, I should say it's going to happen. That's what needs to happen probably to fix the field of view. But at the end of the day, that's not realistic, again, for casual people trying to game and use AR for not just this kind of thing, but also just for utilities. And so that really is one of the biggest issues right now with wearables. And with that being said, that's why I've tried to keep the focus in the mobile world. With Apple's announcement of the iPhone 11 Pro coming out, and Android or Galaxy, Samsung doing all their stuff with all their great devices, and even some of the other brands that I haven't mentioned that we all use, phones are getting pretty powerful. And I wanted to make a control for this platform, Oasis Core specifically. I wanted to use an iPhone 10 as a control device. And what I mean by control, I mean I wanted this to be the minimal product you could run this on, and it would function and it would do what it needs to do, knowing that when this gets released and we start using it in the world, hopefully, if not Oasis Core and some other places, it would function and it would be usable on a device like this. And so it's running. We still have to optimize the efficiency of how it runs, and we do that by using the camera to turn off like 3D objects that are not in the field of view. We use stuff like sprite sheets so that images get crammed on one sheet and you can propagate them. We obviously, excuse me, we obviously compress the mesh to make sure it's very tiny, the textures, and really that's what I've done in this level as an example that I'm using today, is that I've crammed as much stuff as I possibly can into this level to where it would actually run on an iPhone, to the point where it actually looks good and it runs good and runs smooth, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't crash or anything. That's the big thing. So it doesn't crash. Stable. Keep it stable. And so that's really where my head's at in terms of where I'm going with this and where I want to go with this. And I'm excited to share that with everybody. I'm excited to show you kind of the first look at what we're doing. And there's so much more to come. And I will definitely show you some more levels tonight and through across the next couple of weeks, and get into the other stuff, the geolocation map and all the systems, and show you a little bit about the back end of how this works and functions. But back to the UI, which I was going to talk about probably 15, 20 minutes ago. And it's pretty straightforward. I wanted to make the UI as simple and streamlined as possible so that we can, we as a user can have all the tools in front of us and get rid of it when we need to, but be able to work on the fly and play without leaving the game screen to kind of keep you engaged the whole time. And so I focus on, starting with the 4 big buttons. We have a crafting page, and the crafting here I've only enabled just a few examples of using the essence, because that's one of the things I talked about you'll need. And so you can click one of these 4 things, and then it tells you the amount, tells you a description, and what you'll get out of getting a firestone here. So a firestone is the 3rd hierarchy of elements you need. It goes essence, substance, and stones. And you use the essence along with the materials to create objects, to fight stuff off. And so some objects will require stones, not essence. And so with that being said, we'll just craft one of these, and it looks like I don't have enough, yeah, it looks like I don't even have enough stuff right now, so I can't craft it. So I know I don't have enough stuff, because if you go down, let me try loading this again, because it should have loaded, it should have preloaded 25 each. I have it, add that in, so I'm surprised it didn't do that. So we'll do it one more time. We'll take a 30-second break, and I'll come back to you on this once we load it again. Okay. So what's interesting is I think I was doing it on a different level, which is why it's not loading here. So let me see if it works this time. If not, I'll open a different level to show you. So as that loads, it's just basically checking to make sure there's no errors in the system and that all the items are correctly loaded. And yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it loaded again. So I'm not sure why it's not doing that, but trust me, it works. And I can show you in a different level how that works. But in the menu system here, we have all the items that you collect, and there's different rarities and different kinds of items. And here's a bag we can put in a slot, and it gives us more slots, like you've seen that before in other games, RPG games. We have things that you can eat and give you health. We have sacks that you can open up, and then generates more objects, like you just saw me do there. And there's just some things that are just quest items you create. So the beauty about, you know, creating this giant inventory system is that we have endless amount of fun and things you can collect and craft together, like we've seen many times in many places. And there's going to be a lot more to come. This is just the beginning. I'm adding dozens and dozens of new items daily. It does take a lot of time for me to get the 3D objects into play, get them animation rigged, get the thumbnails like you see down here to where you can get a nice cool perspective shot on them, so when they're in your inventory they look good, along with other places. And you also want to make sure that it makes sense and it grinds with what the game's all about. So with that, we have the marketplace, which is a place where I wouldn't really say you're cheating, but we all know what marketplaces are meant for. They're all meant for you to use a currency to buy objects to get ahead and not necessarily do the exploration work and to just have it. And a starter pack right here is recommended for anybody that just wants to jump into it. This one has a little bit of gold, wood, and metal all needed to craft, along with 100 elements each. So that's going to get you jumped in right away, and not having to worry about fishing around, exploring for a lot of stuff for those of you that just want to get right into building and crafting things. And we have the character system. And I'm going to hold off from showing you the character interface because I haven't enabled the attributes yet. Our character does have a leveling system. He does have attributes. You see we do have health here, and we do have a shield, and all that stuff is affected by when people attack, or when NPCs attack you, and when you use items to raise your health or your shield or special abilities, and that goes without saying. I think we all know that. But once I get into place, I will definitely show you. Above the joystick here, you can see there's a compass. And the compass is something I built in, and unfortunately it doesn't work on the computer. It only works on the phone because it needs the sensors of the phone. But the beauty of the compass is that we can actually use that to create quest like exploration like you would have in an adventure. And I don't know if you guys can see behind me, I'm actually at home in my place. I do a lot of backpacking. I do a lot of like adventuring myself, which is part of the reason why I got into this theme and genre of this game, because I thought it'd be something I would enjoy, and I also thought it'd be a way to give adventure to people that can't go places, at least far away. But I wanted that to be the theme and the premise behind this, and so I built in the compass so that you can use the navigational techniques for quests to say, all right, go north, 500 steps and you're going to find a clue, blah, blah, blah. And that really has worked out really well. It actually is really fun and engaging, and you'll move the phone around and it'll tell you which way you are in the real world, and when you geoplace stuff on the map, you can actually get there. So that is one of those things where this was a good mistake, I should say, because I was putting in seeing how it would work, and I decided to keep it in. Above the compass, we have the 4 elemental types, like I mentioned earlier. And you can't see them, but there are numbers in those circles right there. And every time you collect an essence, it's going to add that. And I kept that there because it's very relevant, and you're going to be constantly using the elements to craft things, to get by stuff, the weapons. And so knowing what kind of weapon or element count you have is important for you to actually know what you can craft. Above those, we have different weapon buttons, or I should say tools, because not all of them are weapons. Some of them are just, like, for instance, on the right, there's a magic lamp, and besides that, there's an hourglass, and to the left of that, there's a flamethrower and a bear trap. And these are just 4 examples of the many types of tools and weapons you're going to be able to create. And eventually I'm going to build in a thing where you can kind of slide up and down with different types. So you're going to have like melee tools, you're going to have range tools, you're going to have effect tools, and you're going to have like help tools, right? And so just talking about the magic lamp, essentially the magic lamp is going to give you, it's going to be something you can craft or find and use, and it's going to give you like a wish, like a free wish, and the wish is not going to be like you can do anything. It's going to give you a few options you can choose to enhance your experience and get ahead. The hourglass is going to slow down time. It's going to slow down certain aspects of what people are moving around, so you can sneak by NPCs without getting hurt, and so on and so forth. The flamethrower is self-explanatory, it's just to burn stuff, and then the bear trap, I think, is also pretty self-explanatory. You're going to place it, and then when things walk around, you're going to trap them and take them out. Specifically, in this example, the raptors or something you can use those for. And then at the very bottom, the last 3 buttons are just kind of game interface buttons that are going to be used. The one on the left is the XP button, and we are building in a experience system to where when you collect a certain amount of items, you get rewards on top of the quest system. And that will just allow for us to engage players. And since that crab's walking by, I'll just click him real quick. Let's see if I can get him. Sometimes you got to make sure the player is in range. And come on, baby. There we go. Got him. So I got some grab parts right there. He was walking by and I get him. and and so with the XP, as you collect, let's say 100, you take out 100 crabs, you're going to get a reward for that. And that's not necessarily a quest. That's just something that we're going to have track within the player profiling system to give you more incentive to play the game. And to the middle of that, in the middle is the settings button. That one just is all the parameters, settings, video settings, credits, all this stuff that we have to legally put in to give credit to a lot of the artists and the people that helped create the assets that we're using. And that's something that we're going to put in there. And then lastly, we have the exit button. And the exit button right there is just going to exit back to the geolocation map. And that's something you click when you're done in the level. There is no time limit specifically in this instance level. At the moment, maybe some will have time limits, maybe some will have countdowns of how much you can gather in a certain amount of time. Well, I'll see how as we go on. But that's basically the last button you're going to press in every scene every time if you're going to move back to the map view. And so that's pretty much it. We got a fire frog hopping by, and I'll go ahead and collect that. You can see I actually need to turn off the mesh when you take them out. So there are some things to still tweak in here and fix, but it's running pretty smoothly on the computer. And real quick, I'll show you just what it looks like on my phone. And so you can probably hear. Okay, so actually what I want to do is reload it because you need to orient the game to where you open the phone. It anchors it itself. So do that. Okay, so now you can see we have our boy. We're facing in front of him, and we can look around. And I was showing you that earlier. So this is how it runs on the phone, and it's actually pretty impressive that it's running on here with all the stuff and all the effects. And this level is one of many cool levels where it's doing really cool things, and I'll show you some few after this. But this is Oasis Live in the flesh, guys. This is the real deal on the phone. No BS, no smoke and mirrors. It's running, and I'm excited for people to get their hands on it, give me feedback, show me how to improve it, show me how to, expand and do really, give me ideas for levels, themes. It's all up to you guys. It's up to you guys to really help me build this out. I was a gamer once. I have an Xbox over there. I have a VR system back there. I've grew up on games. I don't really game that much anymore because I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to run a company. I'm trying to build a brand, build business, and games don't necessarily help me accomplish that. They take away from that, but instead I'm going to build games, and that's giving me the best of both worlds. And there's nothing more fun than creating something and being inspired by the many, many, many companies and people and individuals that brought you ideas and perspective in life. From when I was 8 years old, playing with my Game Boy, to games that Blizzard and other companies created, to what Xbox and PlayStation do, and I shouldn't say what they do, but what the people, the other companies that release stuff. Anybody watching this that's in the industry doing this, I'm very humbled by the challenges it takes to accomplish this stuff. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to create games. It requires a little bit of technical knowledge, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of luck, a little bit of everything to get something working and functioning, and a lot of trial and error. And like I said, this project right here is about 5 years on and off. As an individual, myself, I was mostly me doing 99% of it. But now that we've releasing it, we have a team. I'm putting together about 6 or 7 people that are going to help us building it out. We get a development team we're partnering with, which I'll announce later next week who they are, and we're getting some wheels and we're getting traction and we're rolling with this, and it's exciting for somebody like me, where you take a passion project and it becomes something viable in a market that people want and they talk about and they use and they say this is going to be cool, I'm into it. And so that's what it's all about, friends. It's about doing something that you enjoy and making it fun and making it engaging and doing it for the right reasons. And that's exactly why I started DigiFX a long time, 10, 12, 13 years ago whenever I started it. It was something I enjoyed, and I decided to pivot into the gaming space because I saw an opportunity here in an emerging market. And the last thing I want to say before we move on to another level is I want to talk about why it's so crucial to be thinking about AR and mixed realities in general. And some of you may agree, some of you may not agree. This is my opinion. This isn't from my experience. I grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco, in a place called Half Moon Bay. It's just south of San Fran. And for those of you that know Half Moon Bay, you know it's a small coastal town. We're known for a pumpkin festival, Maverick Surf. So if you're a big surfer, you want to go there and check them out. You know, be careful. They're monsters, but that's a place to go. I bet some of the best surf in the world. Agriculture, and it's really just a small little quiet town. It's not big. It's hidden across the mountains from the rest of the Bay Area. But going up there in the 90s, moving out there in the 90s, I should say, my dad brought us out there. I kind of watched the whole dot-com boom thing happen, and my dad got a job in Palo Alto, and he did stuff with NASA, and he had a few software companies, and it really encouraged me to follow my own path and what I wanted to do, seeing what he did and how he accomplished his goals in life he set. But what I'm getting at is we saw all this data being collected, right? The internet was created, and we had all these data and all these servers, and now it's all about collecting data and metrics and analytics to determine how you target something to somebody. But with that being said, fast forward 30 years from now, it's 2020 in a few months. We are now in the age of visual extensions. And so we have all this data that's collected. We have all these mainframes and servers that have all this information we need to share. And so we need to find ways to visually represent the data in a form that's feasible and usable in our everyday life, that is a passive way to actually engage the world around us without looking at spreadsheets and numbers and doing stuff the old traditional way. And AR and mixed reality and VR, specifically more AR and mixed reality, is, in my mind, is more about this because it's on top of the real world. There's ways to visually represent data in form factor, whether it's in objects, whether it's in games, whether it's just objects or shapes that represent something, like a green light for good, red light for bad. And you see a lot. Been seeing a lot on LinkedIn, and specifically from other people in the industry, a lot of target recognition, right? Using certain images to propagate 3D objects. That's a big thing. And I have a few things I'm creating with Oasis Core that does that, and I'll share that with you guys when we release that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all about visually extending the data we have. And that's what 2020 is all about in my mind. It's all about finding ways to enhance that experience and pulling that information we have. And so that's exactly why I think if you are interested in the industry and you have some thoughts or ideas, put them to work. Put your time in, and even if you have a full-time job, when you're not doing it, think about ways you can really extend the data we've collected. And I feel like you'll win people over that way. And that's just my opinion. So you may not agree, but that's how I feel about it. So with that being said, I want to show you a few more levels. I'm going to stream for probably another 15 minutes, and I'm going to go. And I'm starting a daily stream. I think part of me getting better about talking about what I've created is being comfortable in my own skin, being comfortable about how I present myself and my image to the world, and also not being scared to say stupid things sometimes. I try not to. I try to think about what I say, but we all know that that's just not the case. We all say things that we may regret, and so I'm trying better not to do that. And so what I'm getting at is this daily streaming thing is going to be fun for me, and hopefully I can get some traction. Hopefully I can make some friends, some acquaintances, and some peers in the process, and get some people excited about the stuff that I'm into. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just exit out of here, and I want to show you another cool level I've been working on. There's a few I'll show you right now, and then there's some that I'm going to hold off because they're not really in place for me to really show off, and I'll save them for another time. So it does take a couple of minutes to have it slow down or go back to the static mode here. and this is my build with all my scenes that are needed to play. And let's go ahead and just show you Sky Island. So Sky Island, as you would expect, is an island in the sky. And if it kind of reminds me like the movie Avatar, and I hope I don't get in trouble if I'm using names like calling out companies and stuff like copyright or whatever, because I'm not trying to build Avatar, guys. So James Cameron, don't come after me, please. I just use that stuff as inspiration. And the reason why I thought like these vines and all this stuff makes me feel like it's very cool and it float around. And at some point, maybe I'll even put some like cool fog effects in. And you can key it out. But you can see right here, we already have some more NPCs. I will say these NPCs are not proportioned. You're gonna look at them compared to Sully here, our little character, and you'll be like, wow, that's a big angry mushroom. He needs to definitely, simmer down. And eventually, I'm gonna fix all those. I've been rapidly, developing all this stuff as quick as possible while just surviving in the real world with real problems and bills and everything. So it's hard to really catch up on everything. But the good news is now that we have a team that's helping us out and a development team, we're going to accelerate the process, and you should be able to get your hands on this game very soon. I'm not going to give you dates, but soon. It's going to be available for anybody interested in helping out, anybody that wants to help test out the functions on different devices. We want you on board. We want you to help us out. And we'll even give you rewards and incentive to do so. And so, back to the Sky Island, I have another one of these menus right here, and you can see this is a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's more graphically intense, because it does look like it's more compact. But there's a lot more stuff in this level going on in this little area. But the same kind of stuff is happening here. We have NPCs jumping around. We have a lot more different monsters that are doing stuff. These are all plant-based monsters. We have a little passion fruit up there you can collect. And just like all the others, you can triple click on them. And they're going to drop stuff. And every level, the Tiki guy over there, he shouldn't be in here. He's just there as a placeholder until I put a new thing in. But you get the point, is we're creating unique environments with unique NPCs that drop unique stuff. And you need this fine stuff here to bring it over there, and so on and so forth. And that's basically the overall premise behind how you build out the game. So the other half of this, I'm just going to go ahead and pause this real quick, and I will show you the other half, because this level is interesting in the sense that there's I built in portals to where you can walk through a portal and go to another island that's floating around. But just to showcase the more of the NPCs themselves, and I'm going to turn that off. That is, just go ahead and move this real quick. Okay, so that's off. I don't want to organize this while people are watching the stream, but if I don't do this now, I won't do it later. And it's all about organization in gaming. All about organization, all about naming conventions. If you look at all my levels down here, they're all named like they need to be in order, because one dash in the wrong place and it crashes, and you don't want that. So I'm going to turn on our other character here. This is a free character I got in the store, and to be honest, I don't think I'm going to use here. I might keep Sully. Sully has some issues in terms of his rig, but we are going to invest and diversify the characters so that anybody that wants to resonate with multi-race characters, they're going to be there. We're going to have that available for everybody to play with, to equal opportunity, so to speak. And so, oops, I went ahead and renamed that, which is not good. But I'm just clicking on Mia so I can zoom to her. And what I was saying about her is Mia has an outfit that is probably not age appropriate for a child playing this game. So that's something we're going to have to work on. And that's something that's important to me. I don't want this to be about what we see on TV in terms of violence and sex and drugs. I want it to be about the adventure. It's purely about the satisfaction of adventuring and finding stuff for me. And so, but she is in the right place. So we're going to go ahead and use her as an example to show you what this level is. So this is another island that's attached to the previous island. And we have a little plant monster boss here. And I just want to show you how he functions. We have another little plant seedling walking around that is also a little bit too large for his own good. He needs to be definitely half that size. But I'm going to go ahead and also click off of her so you don't see that. But you can see now we're on the top level, and this actually kind of also reminds me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but all the plants are very large. Everything's very large, and you're small. And so that may be a theme we can go with this specific level. They can be overly large plant monsters. I'm not sure yet. I got to figure that one out. But you can see now we're on the other island, and if I just zoom out, we're way up there, and we were originally down there. So the goal is to have some kind of portal. In this specific, have a quest where you have to open a portal, maybe by forging or crafting some kind of some tool that opens a portal, and then you can get up to the boss. It's giving you a little secret and a hint about what's going to happen in Sky Island. And then, of course, we have some other rocks and stuff that are just hanging out. This level doesn't have anything, but it's there. Maybe we'll do something with that too. So this is the Sky Island instance, and like I said before, it's different than Palm Beach. And it's got a unique feel, and that's the fun part, is that it's like going somewhere else. And I also want to note that when we create these islands, we're going to have them randomly generate stuff in different places, so that you're not going to know exactly every time you open up Sky Island where stuff is. We're going to use a system that basically randomly populates certain items in different places to where it keeps it unique, it keeps you guessing, keeps you searching different places, and by doing so, it will stop it from being redundant, which that's the biggest thing I think we all face in games is redundancy, and you can't have that. When it's redundant, it's boring, it's no good. So next we're going to open up Winter Valley. Winter Valley is another one I really enjoy. I enjoy all these levels equally, but this one is fun in the sense that it's a different kind of feel. First thing you'll note is how large the terrain is, and this is something that I'm definitely going to fix eventually. It does run, it does function, and I have to look actually at the memory utilization the terrain actually takes up on a phone for this. But the reason why I kept it is because in this one, it's kind of like the other level where you propagate different stuff in different areas. You can see if I zoom out, there's a bunch of little grayed out little spots where you're going to have items that you're going to go in different levels of the instances. And maybe I break them up into separate scenes. Maybe they just all load at once. Maybe they just turn off, or maybe I split up the terrain. I'm not sure yet. I'm still figuring that out. But what I am sure about is that there's a Yeti roaming these hills, and he's looking for a meal, and you're on his menu. So you got to make sure you are careful of the Yeti. And I only say that because right now he's just kind of walking around being a bozo in camp. But eventually he's going to be one of these aggressive NPCs that comes after you. And also you'll notice here how I just have a box instead of the actual Winter Valley. I'm just a placeholder. But there's our Mr. Yeti. He is walking around doing his thing. And I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see. And if you just look at the map real quick, we also have some brown wolves. And we have some other items to gather them around along with different quests. So again, another example of a different level. This one has a kind of a storm coming in. I should also mention that in Oasis, we built in a whole weather system to where the time of day is changed, storms, weather, all kinds of really cool stuff that you can eventually will propagate in terms of when levels and special instances come up. And on top of that, we have an AI system, like I mentioned. We have a few different AI systems. These are all the passive systems where they just kind of roam around on the nav mesh. And if you don't know what nav mesh is, it's basically places on the terrain where stuff can walk. There you see a dragonfly flying around in front of me right there. I always try to love catching that guy. It's fun. Those are the funnest things to catch because you'll be just doing your thing and a little insect will fly by and you have to tap them real quick. And you make them really rare. You make them like have some, you make something very valuable that he owns or has to where you'll want to catch the dragonfly or stuff like that. There's a bunch of them. There's bees, dragonflies, butterflies, a lot of things I haven't really put in here yet. Just I'm showing off the environments and the different aspects of what they can be. Sorry, I just bumped the mic. But yeah, so this is Winter Valley, and it is also we got to figure out what we're going to do with the ambient occlusion, the motion blur, the lighting, to where it performs well, and that's something that we're figuring out. But all in all, it's pretty cool. It does its thing, and if you come over here, I'll show you kind of the other side of it. I can pick up a water essence because it's snowing, right? So it's water here. And I want to show you my DigiFX flag. See if it's flying. There we go. Haha! Camp DigiFX. Awesome. That's just me. That's a feel-good little asset I put in there. I'm like, this is awesome. That's all I know I built this. But the flag's not connected to the pole. I have to fix that. But cool stuff, guys. I can't tell you how fun this has been for me, and I hope everybody enjoys it. So lastly, I'll show you one more, then I got to roll, and then we'll do another stream tomorrow. We'll get into more development, the back end of how stuff works. I'll show you a level that you're probably pretty familiar with if you watch some adventure relic hunting movies. This is a level that I got inspired by a movie which I will not speak of by its name for the sake of people coming after me for it, but it's something that inspired me to do so and create this. It's really based all around this theme of this game is kind of this level. So here we have our little Sully guy here. So I'll zoom in. Actually, you know what? I'll do it differently. I'll zoom out this time and I'll just move around and I'll show you kind of what's happening here. So we have a 2-room setup here, and the front room is a false room, and the front altar is a false altar. When you walk up the steps, there'll be traps that come out. There'll be saw blades. There's all kind of stuff that's going to come after you, and you got to figure out ways to get rid of them by crafting items. And it's just that's why we have this golden guy up here, and he's gonna be offering something. You're gonna go approach him. He's gonna come down, and it's gonna be a trap, and you got to get through him. So with that being said, I also have a false wall here that I put in. And usually the wall will be animate down, but because I've just been developing this, it already is down. And so I'll just zoom past the wall, and I'll just show you the real prize. This is one of the relics. This is the golden monkey relic, and again, I got to check to make sure I can actually use this. So before anybody sits here and says, hey, you can't use that, I'm going to check, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the copyright lawyers involved and make sure that anything we're doing is 100% legal, and if not, we're going to make something else golden that looks like this, just so everybody knows. But this is one of the relics that will give you power, and again, the whole point of the game, the snake right here is idling. I don't know why he's not moving. He must not have nav mesh enabled, but it's not a big deal. We'll fix that. But with relics, it's all about the relics, and each relic you collect is going to give you a unique power-up, and the goal is to have as many as you possibly can. And that's pretty much the name of the game. It's not called Relic, it's called Oasis Live, but that's what you do in Oasis Live, and I can't wait to show you guys what else we're doing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just a look at the environments, the AI system, and the tools, and the map, and the geomap is a whole nother world of fun stuff, and that's something I'm going to show you soon. So please give me your feedback. Please leave your comments. Please reach out. My email is contact@digifx.com. I want to hear from you. and let me know what we can do to make this better. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you think is stupid or doesn't make sense, and we're gonna fix it. We're gonna make it happen, assuming everybody agrees. So with that, I'm Nate Miller from DigiFX, and I appreciate you watching the stream. See you next time.